people to say, I'm hearing or I'm being subjected to energy weapons, the police by far have the most authority over you. So I can't understand why you wouldn't go to the doctor, you wouldn't go to the neighbors, you wouldn't go to the landlord, but you'll tell the police about energy weapons.
Actually,
so again, Stefan basically is not listening at all, or if he's listening, he's not retaining what I'm saying. So I did say that I went to the doctor and I discussed this with him, and nothing came out. I actually did go to the landlords also, but because of the way this conversation is happening, and it was like I'm trying to recollect from my past, so and I did not prepare for this conversation with everything that I'm going to say. It's a long story. It's a story which has been going on for the last 3 years continuously, and before that in 2008 2009 for 1 year. I did actually go to landlord in 2008 2009 as well as in 2015 as well, but nothing came out of it, which is understandable, because even if you have recordings, what can a landlord do with that? It's just some noises and on a phone, and when they happened, what exactly was going on. So if it is an audio recording without the context of the 360-degree video panoramic view of where I am and what I am doing, it's difficult for a landlord to take action. And so for him to emphasize that and contrast it with me going to the police station is again because he is trying to make some point which is not clear actually. What is the point he's making right now? It's not clear. So whenever I called a private investigator about this, and I told them that I'm being harassed, covertly harassed, at that time I wasn't sure like what exactly, who exactly are the people behind this. I did have a very good idea that it's the Sahara Women's Shelter organization, which has to be behind this to some extent, because they are the ones who came into the picture in 2008, and it happened, and they have been a constant presence in my ex-wife's life all along, and other people have also been harassed who had some touch point with that women's organization. And whenever I called a private investigator, they would say that, if it is harassment, you ought to go to the police. And so some people did advise me, and my attorney also advised me that you may not gain anything by going to the police. But then I was desperate at this point of time. My life was totally upended, and doctors were not able to find neighbors. You can't approach neighbors at all the time. So once you have spoken with them, that's it, and then they can always say that they didn't do it, and then what are you going to do? And then it's not typically one neighbor. There are multiple neighbors around a unit, and then it's difficult to be sure where exactly is this coming from. So doctors, neighbors, landlords, and then I gave it a last shot. I was desperate, and I went to the police station, and I didn't have much expectations. But then, and I mentioned that, but Stefan kind of is trying to make a point here, so he is not listening that I did not have much expectations. So he is pointing towards that your craziness made you go to the police station rather than go to the neighbors or your doctors. So what is the basis of that is not clear, and I don't think it's clear to him also. He's just latching onto something which he can make sound like sensational or crazy, and that's what he's driving at. So he's trying to grab at something which will support his conclusion, which is going to come in about half hour, that this is some kind of a mental dysfunction or some psychological issues which are causing this. And because he's driving towards that conclusion, so no reason or argument which are supposed to be his forte, because he wrote this book out of the argument, and he's a staunch, very, very strong supporter of reasoning rather than violence in resolving issues, in moving the world forward. So he is not interested in reasoning, not interested in examining, but he is driving towards that conclusion, which is very, very strange. I would say very uncharacteristic of him again. And
but you'll tell the police about energy weapons.
Actually, I will restate that. So my intention to go to the police was to check if they have heard and if any of the fathers have reported harassment like this.
Wait, is the story changing again?
No, it's not changing.
It is, because you said you went to complain about being harassed, and now you're saying you went to check and see if other people had been harassed.
Now, now what is happening is that anything I'm saying, so either he is latching onto that and making me stand by it, or he's just ignoring that and starts another conversation. So in this particular case, he's latching onto the fact that I said I went to report harassment. But actually I did not, and I did, when I went to the police station, I did tell the officer who was there clearly that I want to check if the police station has had experience with any other people who had reported harassment like this. But when I speak with people about it, like for example when I told Stefan about going to the police station, so I said I went to the police station to report harassment, because although I didn't say, although I didn't have any intention of asking the police station to write a report, my intention was to go and check if they have experienced such harassment. And for some reason I was thinking that because this is being done with me, this must be getting done to some other people also, maybe very few people, but some other people also. And then I'll check with the police station, and if they say yes, we have, then I could probe and find out if I can ask them to write a report about it. If they have heard about it, do they write report about this? If they do write, then maybe I could ask them to write a report. If they do not write reports about it, I can't ask them to write a report if they are not amenable to writing that kind of report. But Stefan is latching on to me like, you said that you went to report harassment, but now you're changing your story. Well, it's not changing my story at all. It's from some time ago, and I'm not if I say that I went to report harassment, it doesn't mean that I went to the police station and told them that please write my report, I want this report to be written. Yeah, so he's latching on to that, and let's see what he says next.
See, when I point out a trouble with your story, you change the story.
Right. Well, it's a complicated matter. There are so
no. Contradictions are not complicated, Sanjay. Contradictions. You understand I'm trying to help you, right?
I of course I do.
Okay,
Well,
so
not
listen, just so
changing
you
the story.
understand, because I don't want this to get combative. I mean, it might, which is not the end of the world, but
Right.
if I could free you from this belief and you could have a happier, safer life, that would be good, right? Because you have for sure wondered if you're crazy, right?
Not this time. But in 2008, probably I did, because I was.
Wait, you've never seriously looked in the mirror and said, maybe my belief is mistaken, maybe I'm misinterpreting things, maybe I'm having auditory hallucinations, which can happen, maybe I'm stressed. And you have never said to yourself that maybe I have a mistaken belief about covert harassment. Not once.
Since August 2015, not once. This is 3 years.
So what's the
not
proof?
a single time.
What's the proof? Because you understand, from the outside,
that's
the more extraordinary the claim, the more extraordinary the proof that is required, right?
Proof, I understand. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Have you been back to India since 2008?
Yes.
When did you last go back to India?
When did I last go to India? I was last in India this year in May.
Okay. Did any of these occurrences happen in India?
Yes.
Oh, so they followed you to India too?
Yes.
See, now that's an indication that the story doesn't hold together very well.
Not really.
So yes, for a layperson, yes, I mean that would be an indication. So a layperson is probably thinking that this harassment is there, and okay, it's happening in Los Angeles, but there's no way this could be replicated in India. And my hope when I went to India was also the same, that when I go to India, at least the harassment network which is there in Los Angeles will be difficult to replicate in India, and would be it would be some relief for me to escape from harassment, at least for some period of time. For him to conclude that this is an indication that this never happened as a matter of fact, that's outlandish. I mean, for somebody who is so strong on reasoning, how can he conclude that? Stefan. A layperson, yes. I mean, layperson is like they are thinking more on feelings, more on hearsay. They are thinking more on what they see on TV. But you are alternative media. You are a supporter of reasoning and argument. And for something to happen in Los Angeles, and for that to happen in India also, how is that proof that that is something that never happened? Where's your reasoning? Where's the logic? So whatever passionate exhortations that you use for using more of reasoning, more of logic, that applies only to other people. What about you? No, I'm sorry, that's my stomach that's my stomach grumbling. So no using logic and reasoning when you are evaluating things. Is that a little bit strange?